All right, what up, people? This is the Corner Store Podcast, episode number 24. My name is Rob, and we got Phil with me on this episode. How you doing, guy?
What's going on? What's going on? I'm good, man. How you feeling?
Shit, I'm good, man. Ironically, since this is episode 24, last night I happened to paint Kobe Bryant in that paint kit, so it turned out pretty good. Like if you look at the painted up close, you can clearly see how much of a lousy job it is. But if you hang it up and look at it from afar, like man, that's a masterpiece.
Yeah. If you glance at it, it looked like what's your cousin husband name?
Oh, Mahershala.
Yeah, it looked like Marshall from
No, no.
quick glance.
Oh hell no.
Yeah, if it did have a jersey on it.
I would have to look at it again. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna send it to them and recommend that they probably do something like that too during their downtime.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, happy birthday, man. In the
Thanks,
big
man.
40 club, big 40 club.
Yeah, man. So far it hasn't really sunk in yet. I mean, I hardly
Yeah.
even have time to even reflect on things because of the constant work schedule and dealing with two babies at home. So I mean, right now, I'm trying to do brain games like you suggested, as far as, once you turn 40, just start to exercise your mind. So I
Yeah.
downloaded this game yesterday called Elevate.
I think I've had that on my phone before.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah.
just I just started on that yesterday, man, and it's some good like brain exercises on that. So I think I'm gonna stick with it because instead of just playing Clash of Clans and Candy Crush all day, I can kind of add that to the rotation.
Yeah. It's definitely good to have, something that handy in your arsenal. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Because you the last to hit 40, but you the first to go completely gray.
Man, I've been gray since my late 20s, so this ain't nothing new.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, I mean, brain games help a lot, man. You really won't. It's not something you can easily quantify how valuable it is, but
Hmm.
you will start to see, your thought processes come together or maintain. You know what I'm saying? Your ability to talk and communicate. It helps a lot of those primary functions that we kind of neglect over time. So yeah, definitely stick with that, man. And just reading, man. I got to get back into reading. I used to read like 2 books a month. Now I ain't read shit in a long time, man. I spend a lot
Oh
of time
yeah.
on the internet reading articles and stuff like that, but I don't really quantify or I don't really consider that reading, because you're not engaged for. I feel like reading is something that engages you on an idea for a period of time. You know what I'm saying? When you're talking about reading a book, from start to finish, that's a single concept, whereas articles are just flashes of information. So
Hmm.
yeah, definitely we might have to get a book club.
You know what? That's actually probably a good idea. I mean, it would keep me motivated to like read, so I could kind
Yeah.
of keep up with like the conversation whenever we end up doing it. So I mean, hopefully, Marcus and E
Yeah.
they stick with it. I mean, I'm sure me and you would stick with that, but good luck with them.
You never know, man. Everybody as they age, they start to, understand that things are different and that
Hmm.
their core values change some. So who knows? Might get them to stick with it. I've been doing a lot of like researching like money uh tricks and tips and tricks and stuff like that. So that's something I'm becoming more interested in. It's a lot of books out there that a lot of people have read, you know, that people talk about a lot that I haven't read or haven't read in a long time. Things like, what is the 48 Laws of Power and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Books I should have read or may have read a long time ago and just don't remember. So I've been thinking about kind of circling back and looking at some of those types of
Yeah,
things.
I definitely need to add that to my arsenal as well, because I believe the last book I've read was the Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover. I think I read that probably late last year.
Yeah.
And prior to that, I read Charlemagne's book, Black Privilege. I read Michelle Alexander's book, The New Jim Crow. So I'm more into as far as like for the most part like historical pieces like the whole Jim Crow, war on drugs, war on poverty, stuff like that. I like to read. So the next one I plan on reading is The Man Not by Dr. Tommy Curry.
A man not.
Yeah, The Man Not. Yeah, I got it already. I had it. I had that book for almost 2 years. I read the introduction, and for some reason, I just like something something literally just took me off my rocker, and I just haven't been back to it. But yeah, I would definitely like to at least have that done. Hopefully by February,
That's
with
what's up.
with the way my schedule is. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, once I get started reading, I just keep reading. So
Hmm.
I just have to get back on that course. I have to course correct on that, and I'll be back reading. But yeah, I mean, we definitely should consider it, man. Something to think about. Get people engaged back in reading, because I know a lot of people aren't doing it, and the
Hmm.
ones that are doing it are reading trashy content. You know,
Yeah.
the world is so built on, um, you know, immediate response or instant gratification. Nobody really want. Not a lot of people are engaging in that long read, and that's one of the things they say that rich people do, uh, considerably more than other people, is they read a lot. So,
Oh yeah, yeah. I actually got a book club going on with my kids actually.
oh yeah,
Um yeah, have a couple cousins. We all like get together mostly on Saturday nights. Like if I happen to be off, we'll go on a Zoom around 7 o'clock, and like the kids would like read like bedtime stories. So that's how we kind of like at least keep the kids like engaged with like one another.
oh that's what's up.
So, but I mean, we didn't do it last night because we just had so much going on with like preparing for the paint and getting the girls ready for bed and everything. Because I mean, it
Right.
was just a long day yesterday. But yeah, we've been doing that for like the past 6 months, I believe.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
that's what's up, man. Yeah,
yeah,
that's a fantastic idea. Something I hadn't considered and probably still won't, but I think it's a great idea. Nah.
yeah. I mean, Chloe doesn't read. She just literally just like she would like flip pages and just say anything that comes to her mind.
Yeah.
It's just so hilarious,
Yeah.
But I mean, every night I read her a story before she goes to bed. I mean, she craves it. She always asks for it. So I would take
Yeah.
her and Pilar to her room, and I'll read them a story, and then up to bed, they go. So, but
That's
yeah,
what's
man.
up, man. That's
Yeah.
what's up.
Hmm.
That's good, man. That's real good. Yeah, I mean, that's part of the process, just understanding what reading looks like. You
Hmm.
know what I'm saying? So for her to uh, you know, see the book being open and know that words on the pages, that's a good start. So she's
Yeah.
on her way, man.
Yeah. Cassie bought me a book for my birthday by I think his name is DeAndre Whitfield. Male Man versus Male.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Haven't
he
heard of him.
never heard of him. Well, he married to Sally Richardson. He played on that show Queen Sugar. He was that blue
Queen,
collar guy.
Queen Sugar. Queen Sugar. Why do I know that name? Why do I know that show? What was it about?
It was the daughters taking over the
Yeah,
sugar
yeah, yeah, yeah,
cane.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
That was a good show. He was which one?
He was the farmer who was messing with the main character for a little bit.
Which one was the main character? The
The
dark skinned lady or the light skinned lady?
light skinned lady.
Damn, it's been a while since I seen that show. Okay.
Yeah, I
Oh
haven't
yeah,
seen
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. I remember now. I remember him now.
Yeah. He wrote a book called Man versus Male.
Okay.
So yeah, and he's married to Sally Richardson. So
So do you think all of this content that you're reading contributes to your patriarchal view on everything? You,
as far as which content I'm reading.
all of the content that you mentioned right now, predominantly written by men. All of it was written by men.
No, the new Jim Crow was written by a woman, Michelle
Oh, okay,
Alexander.
okay, Michelle
So
Alexander. Less
yeah,
Michelle Alexander, but that was written during
I
the
mean, you
time.
you you can't just conveniently just take her out the picture, man.
I wasn't thinking about it, to be honest with you. I wasn't thinking about it. But I mean, even still, it's do you think that the content that you've been spending a lot of time with is contributing to your patriarchal view?
I believe ever since I became a father, that kind of switched my whole mindset. How how it's my responsibility to like make sure that I remain that male masculine leader in order to make these kids competent adults as they get older.
Okay, so let me ask
So
you
it,
this.
it has nothing to do with content, but like I mean, I may have confirmation bias by some of the things that I consume, but at the same
Right.
time, I mean, it still doesn't make it wrong as far as what I'm listening to or consuming.
Right, right. No,
So,
I don't think that is wrong, but I wonder, because you have two daughters
mm-hmm.
in the society that is currently being molded, and
Right.
how that's completely different from your patriarchal view. What type of um, what type of situation might you be putting them in? Because you're, if your view is that, in our community, the patriarchy is extremely important, which I don't disagree with totally. But if that's your view, but we're growing into a more feminist society,
Mm-hmm.
as they become adults and they're empowered, um, what you're basically molding them in is a structure that will make no sense 20 years from now.
I don't
It
think
may
so.
make no sense.
I don't think so, because the women who are marriage minded, more than likely they are submitting to like male leadership,
Uh,
like a hardcore feminist. Even though she may get married, she'll likely be married to a beta male, in which she's going to run over him. And in those situations, most of those marriages really don't work at all.
well, what I'm thinking is, and this is just me off the cuff. The way I see things going is that we will move to a more equal society, and the construct of marriage was going to even further dissipate,
Okay.
where the understanding of what marriage is will simply be the union of one or more or two or more people, and it won't necessarily have anything to do with male and female. That's, to me, that's the direction that as a society we're heading. So if that has some truth to it, which is evident by, gay marriage being legalized, gay everything on TV. You can't watch TV now without seeing, you know, two people of the same sex engaging with each other. If that's the course that we're currently seeing or
Mm-hmm.
on, then 20, 30 years from now, when they're, our kids are adults, it's a good chance that they'll live in a world where there's a greater percentage of uh, marriages that aren't men and women than there are.
See, the thing is, being that yes, they do have a man in a household, I can kind of control what type of content that they watch, and I'm going to teach them certain concepts, so for them to kind of look out for whenever they leave the house. So especially in college, because it's just full of the super left liberal kumbaya, I need a safe space because you like offended me. I mean, I'm going to teach them certain concepts that when you leave out this house, you will have some like opinions, some talking points that's probably gonna be directly opposed to yours, but at the same time, you need to make room for those type of opinions to be open for debate. Don't be afraid of debate. Just ask questions, have a conversation, instead of going through this cancel culture. I mean, that's what's wrong with society now, because speech is likely going to be well, it's trying to be suppressed, but it's as far as more on the right side. But if you're a leftist, then yeah, they want to welcome all types of speech as long as you agree with them. But if you disagree with them, then they want to label you as like a hater or a phobe or sexist. So
Hmm.
we have to have room for open debate if we have disagreeing views.
Okay. Okay. So again, 10 or 20 years from now, when the context of that entire conversation is completely different, because the makeup of our society has changed so potentially changed so greatly, where will where will your kids fit? Well, where will your, not necessarily your kids, where will your perception of masculinity fit in a world where that's not even important anymore?
I hope not, because like in other races, I mean, their patriarchies are running quite well, no matter how many micro victories feminists have. I mean, men still run their shit, and that's what I want to change with the Black community, because at the end of the day, the buck stops with me. I mean, I am the bag. I provide a certain lifestyle to my wife and kids. So if I can't provide it, then I don't want the government to do it. It's up to my job to do it. So that's why I say that we have to be patriarchal minded. It's not being white minded. It's being male minded, like a real man. So I mean, I really don't understand why like most black folks don't understand this concept. I mean, other races of people understand this. The Latinos, the Jews, the Asians, the East Indians, they all understand this, but black people.
I don't think that we don't understand it. I think we've been conditioned to not observe it as a necessity, based out of, you know, our oppression. Systematic oppression has forced us to not even bring that up as an issue.
Well,
Everything else is an issue that's affecting us aside from the things that are most important or the most easily observed. You know, we talk about financial freedom all of the time. That's something we just have been conditioned to go to work and make money and give it back to the people that we got it from. So that's conditioning. And the same thing with the patriarchy. I mean, we're talking about the government allowing women to keep these Section 8 homes as long as the man is not in the house. So all of that, I think, contributes to the breakdown in the black family. I don't think that people can't have conversations and know about it, but conditionally, it's just it's just something that's been force fed into our society, into our community.
yeah, I mean, for 100 years, we did try to mimic a real patriarchy from Reconstruction up until 1965, and then after that, everything just totally changed with the whole, let's let women to the workforce, let's give them welfare as long as the man's not in the house. Let's give them this sexual, freedom to have as much sex as you want and have access to like legal abortion after Roe v. Wade. And it's as far as systemic factions that's kind of like affecting us today. I mean, that was predicted by Patrick Moynihan's report, back in the 60s. And even back then, since he was a white man, feminists kind of label him as a racist. And hey, how dare you say that this is going to happen to the black community? I mean, he was literally right. I mean, we're what, 50 plus years later since he written that. Look at our communities, like across the inner cities. I mean, these are shitty communities. So
Well, I mean, all that's true. You can't deny that. I don't deny any of that. I just see that if you want, it's going to be difficult to present an image of a patriarchy to adults in 20 years more so than it is now. And why, a lot of these societies that are experiencing war and revolution and all of that, a lot of it's driven because of their laws which support the patriarchy. So
okay.
these things that are these issues that are facing women right now, ideally in 20 years won't be facing women anymore.
As far as what issue specifically you
Things
you're
like
saying,
equal pay, things like
that's not true.
cons-
Equal pay. Everybody gets paid equally.
where would you get that idea from?
What economist has ever subscribed to the idea that there's a disparity in pay?
I can tell you as an employer there's a disparity in pay.
That's not true.
I can tell you as an employer there's a disparity in pay.
That's not true. That's not true. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. All right. As far as the gender pay, right? Okay. First, is two different factions of the pay, right? You got the public sector and the private sector, right?
Right.
Now the public sector pay is literally set in stone.
It's
You
dictated by right.
time and service, certain promotions, that's
Yeah.
set in stone. Now the whole pay gap thing is more has something to do with the private corporations,
Right.
which I have no issue with. Now,
So
I
you don't
mean,
have an issue with a pay gap between male and female in the private sector? In
I
the
mean,
private sector?
no, I'm saying pay should be equal. I mean, I have no issue with women being paid the same as men. That's not my issue. My whole issue is it's the talking points that's being spewed out by, you know, these special interest groups who's trying to have a transfer of, you know, resources from one gender to the next. They trying to do overcorrection. That's what I'm saying. But as far as the differences in pay, it's pretty much predicated on, you know, lifestyle changes. Because with women, if they leave the workforce, then they're not gonna have the same type of income versus men who pretty much kind of working, you know, like, you know, all year round. And you know, let me see. Okay, so that's the piece as far as like, okay, women taking off for the workforce. They probably won't work like a lot of overtime because, you know, they may have kids and they may have to go to some sporting events, you know, instrument recitals, whatever. So what, you never heard of this?
What are you talking about? You throwing a lot of generalizations in there. It's a lot of professional women that don't have children. A lot.
Okay, so right. So those women who are single with no kids, yes, they are likely to gonna go like the same distance as like a man who's likely gonna do that type of stuff anyway.
That's not true. They reach ceilings a lot faster than men do.
Like women reach ceilings.
Yeah, women absolutely reach ceilings a lot faster than men do. Just like black people reach ceilings faster than white people do. Obviously, you know, there's a level of understanding or information that hasn't been provided to us, and that's kind of like where I was talking about, you know, reading up and researching a lot about money, a lot of the money things that I've learned over the past few years. But women run into ceilings all of the time,
No, that's
all
not
of the
true.
time.
That's not
Yeah,
true.
absolutely, is true.
Okay, so
Just
give me
like
an
black.
example.
So okay, so do you agree that black people run into ceilings?
I mean, if you don't know how to navigate in well, if you know how to politic at the works place, then you can definitely get further.
Okay,
If
so
if
that's a
if
ceiling.
if you're gonna be passive, I mean, I won't put that just on black people. That's where anybody.
But that's what I just said. You just said that
No, I'm
women
saying
don't.
you put it on race.
I asked you about race specifically because I was going
Right.
to interlude to something else.
Right. I mean, I'm not putting on anything. I'm just saying, if you're like a man, woman, black, white, Asian, if you're a passive person who don't know how to politic at work, you have a ceiling.
Okay, exactly.
Okay.
A ceiling. So,
That has nothing to do with a pay gap.
oh no, we talking about ceilings. We got to approach this one. We got to approach this thing one at a time. You can't just keep jumping all over the place.
I'm not jumping all over the place. I'm keeping it to one topic.
A ceiling typically has a cap on it, a pay cap. So if you run into a ceiling, your pay is not going to go up.
Then that's on the individual.
Okay, the issue is a lot of these equal ceilings have different pay gap, different pay. A woman in a woman in a law practice, you know, you got a man in a law practice and a woman in a law practice.
Okay.
They could both navigate the political aspect of the job equally.
Okay.
And when they both hit that ceiling, when they both, you know, maybe make partner, the man is going to typically make 25 to 30% more money. That's common. That's common.
Now, okay, so that's a private corporation.
The majority of the world is private. Everybody don't work. For the government is different, obviously. You know.
Okay. Now, okay. So it's also, like I said, when it comes to politicking, that man likely negotiated for more money, right?
No, that's not generally the case.
I'm saying, like,
when you walk in and have that conversation,
when you get to that level,
have you had a lot of negotiating conversations in your pay increases?
And my pay increases. I mean,
have you had to negotiate your pay?
I've been in government literally all my life.
So you've never had to negotiate your pay?
When I worked for Colorado Tech University.
Okay. How long ago was that?
That was 2007, 2008.
Okay, so it's been a significant amount of time since you had to negotiate. Okay, I negotiate my pay every year. Okay, every year.
Are you a free agent every year?
I'm a free agent every year. That's how I have it set up. If I choose not to negotiate my pay a year, it's because of my own perception of my performance. Okay, so
Okay, so you are politicking at work.
Yeah, I do. I understand that.
Okay, all right.
But I also understand that a lot of people don't know how to create that power for themselves.
Okay, but
Yeah, but that's a ceiling.
I want to call that systemic. That's on the
No.
individual.
Systemic. What was we talking about? Now you saying systemic. We talking about something else. I ain't talking about systemic.
You said systemic.
I was talking about patriarchy and understanding. That was the last time I said systemic. Don't try to cycle my words back into some new shit.
Then we morphed into the pay gap. So
yeah. Right, we started talking about pay gap. Okay, so most people don't feel empowered enough to negotiate their pay when they're in a position to do that. Obviously, if you're in certain fields, you're going to be exposed to that and understand that that's something that you can do. But even in those situations, a lot of people don't, because they don't know how to value themselves. But that ain't got nothing to do with women and men. What I'm saying is, if the status quo for a job in the private sector is, let's say, $50,000, okay? If the status quo, if I look online and say the average amount that the person in this field makes is $50,000 in Illinois, when that person goes and gets that job, they're gonna either start on the low end of that spectrum or the higher end of that spectrum.
Okay.
A lot of the times it has nothing to do with experience. A lot of the time it's just about the politicking, like you say. But if a woman
and also your personal salary experience as well.
To a degree, right? Yeah, I will agree with that.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, when a woman comes into that conversation with a man, a lot of the times the man's perception, being the interviewer, is that she's going to come in at the bottom regardless, unless she has some type of stature to support her coming up higher.
In most cases, women are hiring in these companies, through the whole human resources department. It's mostly
so you blaming the women.
Women are the gatekeepers when it comes to hiring practices. So you got to blame this on the women.
Okay, so it's women's fault that they don't make more money.
Hey, I didn't say it, you did.
I was asking the question. I
okay, go ahead.
I will say, as a hiring manager, that I obviously don't adopt the same mentality when it comes to hiring people as a lot of others would. I look at a lot of other factors, and a lot of times I don't even ask the same stupid interview questions that most people get. But I will, as someone who's sat in interviews with other people who are trying to get jobs, not at my current employer, but at other employers, when the conversation starts, or before the conversation starts, that employer typically already has a dollar amount that they're going to pay this person, male or female.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, you got two people fresh out of law school, right? Let's say the woman graduated from Harvard Law and the man graduated from John Marshall. You think that woman would get paid more than that John Marshall?
Nope.
Are you serious?
I promise you, she won't.
Just because she has a uterus.
Just because she has a uterus.
I don't believe that.
I promise you.
I don't believe that at all.
This is where all this male toxic masculinity and all this good old boy stuff that we think has disappeared. That shit still exists. That is the core of this country.
So, are you currently a hiring manager at your employer?
I am, yeah.
Okay, so have you practiced some of this toxic masculinity?
I don't, because I've been a hiring manager or in a hiring position for a very long time, and I don't value a lot of the responses that people give in interviews. I don't base any of that in reality, because it's millions of training videos on how to give a perfect interview. All of that's garbage. You know what I'm saying? To me, it is. But when we talking about pay, I have a certain amount of money that I know I can pay a person. I value in a person first what they can do. I have to see what they're capable of doing. So I pretty much never hire anybody without seeing examples of their work, because I don't really care what you say you can do. I need to see what you actually can do. So not all jobs are privy to be able to do that. I can, and most of the time I try to create a situation where I can get better information back from the person I'm interviewing. So no, I don't subscribe to that. Now, from a pay standpoint, if I'm given a $10,000 gap to work within to hire somebody,
Mm-hmm.
if I've seen their work, if I can tell their disposition and get a good grasp of what type of employee they will be, then it's up to me to uh, push their price up, because I'm at that point placing value on what I believe they can do as opposed to what they believe they should get. So ultimately, I am the decision maker on how big of a gap there's going to be. But
Mm-hmm.
I know coming in that a lot of people don't subscribe to that. They want to get a person in for as cheap as possible. And if the ceiling is, I don't know how to negotiate my pay, or I've never been in a situation where I had the ability to negotiate my pay, then I'm never going to be able to negotiate my pay or do that properly. You know how many people are just super afraid, male and female, to just ask for a raise?
Okay, well, right. That's their fault. It's up to the individual.
Yeah, but that's a ceiling.
I
Whether
mean,
it
yes,
be imposed by the employee or imposed by the employee, it's a ceiling. And
right.
that's a societal ceiling that's created by society. It has nothing to do with the employer. So
Well, we're talking about two different things.
even though the employer might create the gap, that 10,000, okay, I got 40,000, $50,000 to give to this employee. I know on the low end I can hire him for 40. That's a capital gains thing. Nobody cares about that. Has nothing to do with male or female. But for that person in that conversation with that potential employee, they're the ones driving the decision on how much to pay somebody. And if you come in with the mindset that, oh, it's a woman, I'm not going to pay her as much, and a lot of people do that, which is the reason for this pay gap, then that's what's going to happen. You have a lot of, and even if it's a woman doing an interview, that woman's going to report back to a man that's going to say, okay, this is how much we're going to pay this person. It's
Oh
just
well.
like that. I'm sorry you don't want to accept it, but that's a reality. Not everybody has the ability as a human resources person to decide how much they're going to pay. Even as a human resources manager, you don't decide pay a lot of times.
Okay.
You're just the high determining factor of whether or not the person gets hired. Somebody above them in most cases decides how much they want to pay out for this person.
I mean, I don't begrudge like a corporation, looking out for their bottom line. I mean, obviously they want to make the most profit while paying like the least amount in wages. So I understand that, but still it's up to the individual to negotiate their work. So if you're given like a $10,000 range, right? But you're taking upon yourself as a hiring manager to highball them, which is fine. I mean, I guess you're doing a great service for that individual. But like, if I was your employer, to me, that's like malpractice on your part.
No, it isn't, because I know what I'm going to get out of that person.
I mean, you're gonna get the
If
same. You will
No,
likely
you're
get the
not.
same productivity. Whether they're making 60,000 or 50,000.
Yes, but it's their productivity. I know if I have the very next interview, I can tell what level of productivity I'm going to get out of that person.
You can't tell.
I can.
Everybody put their best foot forward during the interview process.
Yeah, but that's why I say I don't have traditional interviews. I don't do traditional interviews
Oh,
because
okay. You're the
people
okay.
come in with the expectation of answering the same 20 questions.
Okay.
What are your weaknesses and your strengths? I never ask those stupid questions. I never ask them.
So basically, you got a certain intuition that could kind of like weed out like the little BS protocols
That's
that
from
they do.
years of experience. Years of only thing that I cannot at this point comfortably say that I'm incapable of predetermining is somebody's emotional stability.
All
Because
right.
at the point of that interview, I don't, they may be in a certain place. Somebody might die,
Mm,
they might be in a different place. Somebody might get sick, they might be in a different place. Somebody might win the lottery around them. And that type of thing you can't predetermine. But in
right.
terms of work ethic, actual production, I don't I never hire anybody after one interview. It's always multiple. But after that process, I can generally determine how productive they will be in the environment that I work in. So,
Okay.
most of the people that I've hired are typically people who've stayed on long term with me,
Mm-hmm.
or are now, in fields after I've left. Like, when I worked for the clothing company, when I left, a lot of the people that I hired went on to be managers in other companies, whereas a lot of people that other people hired went on to get fired. They was stealing and all kind of stupid shit. So, you
Okay,
know,
so what was your retention rate as far as the people that you hired per se?
I mean, I honestly, I couldn't give you an exact number on that. I don't. For me,
Ballpark
I
figure.
mean, I would probably say plus 80%.
Oh, it's pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty good.
I
Okay.
mean, obviously things happen that make people want to go on and do other things, but that's neither here nor there. We was talking about how women get paid less than men, and that's a fact. It's there's a lot of truth to it.
Yes, it's a fact. Yes, but people don't take into an account of the lifestyle choices that would make them not make or earn as much as men.
Okay, all right.
So
I mean, I agree with it to a degree. I mean, it's one of those situations. I don't even know how the hell we even got here. I wasn't really. That was just one thing out of many that we could have talked about. Based on where our conversation originated, which I don't even remember no more.
now, okay, so you was asking me questions as far as like foreshadowing like the next 20 years as far as the
Okay.
whole
Okay.
the whole notion of patriarchy, but like as far as you today, do you subscribe to the notion of patriarchy being like the best social order for us to progress as people?
I would say that at this point in history, it's been demonstrated as the most successful
Okay.
because nothing else has been done.
Okay. Okay.
So
And
I mean,
right
you can't
now,
really argue it.
and right now, would you say that overall, the black community, mostly in the inner cities, would you say that it's a matriarchy?
I would say that it's been a matriarchy for a long time, a very long time.
Oh yeah, yeah. Okay. All right.
Even when you might say it was a patriarchy, it was a matriarchy.
I mean, okay, from Reconstruction to 1965, we was the most married as far as any other demographic. We
Okay.
practiced group economics. I mean, men were in the households. Like back then, like the kids dressed up in suits. I mean, we always had on our Sundays best. I mean,
Right.
like according to old
Well,
photos.
who was running that family? You
The
were
man,
you weren't running that family.
you said what?
You may have been a provider, but you weren't running that family.
I mean, the
Women
women,
every day.
the women were running a household,
Then
but
it's a matriarchy.
no, no, like the whole concept of like matriarchy is like the buck stops with the woman.
It did. Even if the man was bringing home the money, the woman was deciding what was being done with it in
The
those
buck
times.
under patriarchy, the buck stops with the man.
Okay, then we've never had one. Then there's never been
I,
a black
I
patriarch.
I would say for 100 years, as long as Adolf's people were like set foot in this soil in America, it was from 1865 to 1965, just only 100 years. It's as far as
I
the only
just don't.
time that we actually practice the whole concept of patriarchy.
African Americans for 100 years.
Right,
You're
right.
saying that we practice patriot. I mean, I don't know. I have to really look at that. Because I don't really have a lot of historical experience with Reconstruction, but my perception, which is obviously my opinion, is that there's never been a time when black men brought money home and manage the affairs of the business of running a home. Black men, to me, in my experience, and just not in my life experience, but my view of history, has always been a man would come home, he would dictate out of his wanting to be empowered what would happen in the house. He would go in the room and go to sleep,
Okay.
and the woman would do everything.
Right. Those were the common gender roles.
I don't consider that a patriarchy. If I think about a patriarchy, I think of I think of Jewish men, for example, working 18, 19 hours a day, coming home, going flipping through their books, managing their finances,
Right.
thinking about ways to expand their business, expanding their businesses, and being able to completely support their family without the contributions of their wives, other than to raise their children.
I'm
To
not
me, that's,
minimizing like the woman's role as far as what
but
she does
see,
in
you're
the household.
using a term that to me minimizes the woman's role.
I mean,
Actually,
okay,
it
so like,
vacates the woman's role. That's what patriarchy means. It completely vacates the woman's role in the household.
no, I never vacated her like contribution. I never downplayed it. I'm just saying, like, as far as the man going out and working and bringing the money home, and like the wife would like control like the finances and the groceries and the kids, the schooling. I mean, yes, we all had roles back then, but like okay, for like Leave It to Beaver, was June Cleaver the
I ain't watched
matriarchy?
that shit. Don't ask me about no Leave It to Beaver. I never watched that show.
So you don't know any other characters in that show.
Other than the name Leave It to Beaver, I never watched that show one time. Sorry.
Well, basically that was more of an avatar of like the way things were prior to feminism, because I mean, like, feminists, they would look down on June Cleaver just because she was a housewife, pretty much being in charge of the household, while Ward Cleaver was pretty much working his 9 to 5. Then he'll come home, he'll likely eat first, and he would discipline the kids if he need to, but she was literally just running a household. But to me, that wasn't a matriarchy, that was a patriarchy.
But that's just the thing. I don't think that's a patriarchy. That's where we fundamentally disagree. You're talking about a financial resource. If that's the case, then if a woman is at home and she's on welfare, then the government is the patriarchy. That's what you're saying.
well well, in
Whoever's
theory,
giving her money is the head of the household, is what you're saying.
I mean, if you put it that way, yes. Like in the black community, right? Men don't run shit. It's the government that runs shit. That's
Okay,
what I'm trying to change.
okay. I
I
think
just I just call it matriarchy. But if you want to call the government a patriarchy, okay, fine. The government is a patriarchy to the black community.
okay. Then I can get on board with that.
Oh,
But
okay.
I don't agree. I don't agree that a matriarchy is any less, can be any more or any less successful as a true patriarchy. If a
Look at
woman is bringing home money,
look at the
taking care of
nearest
the
black
finance,
look at the nearest black community.
our community
It
is
doesn't work.
our
Matriarchy doesn't work.
our community is a poor example of that because of our history,
Okay.
where our family was broken up. We didn't break it up; it was broken up. That isn't something that happened. That isn't something we did to ourselves. That was something systematic that was done to us. That's the systematic that I'm talking about.
Well, it's a mixture of systemic factors, and also, I mean, people still had their individual choices. So you can't give the state a reason to break up your family. So
The
it's,
state
it's
has
it's
all of the reasons it wants to break up his family.
right. I'm saying you can't give them a reason to do it.
You can't give the government a reason to break up your family.
Yes.
So you're saying that they broke up our families because we gave them a reason to.
Some did. Some did.
I have to think about that. I don't, I don't know. I don't know if I believe that, if I subscribe to that. But I mean, ultimately, when we talking about patriarchy and matriarchy, because you talk about this a lot, you tend to convey that if a man is not empowered in his own family, that family unit cannot be successful. My argument is that you're saying money is the only driven factor in the patriarchy. I'm
No,
saying it's
no,
not.
no, no. It's like many things, because if there's a man and a woman in a household, then that child has the opportunity to take in both the masculine and a feminine nutrients in order for them to be a competent person, growing up, and wants to lead a household. Then they should have those tools to like pass on that type of knowledge over to their offspring. I mean, it's just a wash, rinse, repeat situation.
Okay.
But if you're growing up not having that fatherly figure, then you will always search that from like foreign men.
Or
You
you might just never search it with the perspective of a man in it.
right? Yeah, I can. Okay,
But
I can concur with that. Yeah.
so my question is, being that there has never been a dominant matriarchal society, from what example can you pull if you don't believe that it's successful, that it's always a failure?
Well, what as far as the
You're,
matriarchy?
you're saying that, yeah, you just agree that the government is a patriarchy.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, there are no matriarchies in our society.
No, you're saying that.
No,
You're
you
saying
just
that.
agree. You just said you could agree with it. That which
No,
one?
no, no. I conceded on that point, but I understand where you're
That's the
coming
same
from.
thing. That's
Okay,
the same thing. You can see it
but
on the point.
I didn't agree to it, but I concede to the point.
Okay, all right. So let's say, okay, if a woman is okay, so let me ask you this: if a woman is the head of her household, or let's say if the woman is the moneymaker, and the man dictates what happens to all of her finances, is it then a patriarchy?
Does the man make more money than her?
No, if the man is not making any money, but the
Mm-hmm.
woman brings home all of the money, but the man decides what happens with the money, is that a patriarchy?
That's a matriarchy.
Okay, I was gonna see if I was gonna get you to trip up on
This shit is easy.
that. Okay, my still ultimately what I'm saying is, when you think about, a matriarch, I don't know that there is a known society where women are, running from that perspective every
Have you
day. Like
seen
what
have you seen like a mostly female construction crew? Have you seen women build
that's what I'm
skyscrapers?
saying. There isn't. That's what I'm saying. There is. I don't think that there is. So
Okay,
there is
exactly.
no
That's my point.
example. That's my point, though. There is no example from which you can pull where that can be successful. You've never seen it before. So why would you say that it can't be successful?
I'm not saying that it can't. All I'm saying is that based off lifestyle changes, women don't even go to those fields anyway. Women will like rather have the corner office than build a corner office.
That's changing too, though.
Where?
Okay, from two perspectives, there are a lot of women that are in the trades, period. A lot of men don't allow them to do certain tasks because they don't think they're physically capable, which may or may not be the case. I won't disagree with that. But society is changing in that in the next 10 or 15 years, construction will be ambiguous in that anybody will be able to do it.
I mean, I don't think that.
So
I mean, cosmetology is a trade. I mean, yes, women get into that, but
men are getting into it too.
yes, it's barbers.
No. Where you been, Rob? Where you been, Rob? Seriously,
You mean to tell me that?
the hair business is dominated by men.
Yes, Koreans.
No, in this country, the black hair experience that's not dominated by women. Hell, the biggest annual whatever they call it is a male event. It's driven by males.
Is it a heterosexual male event?
Now you talking about something else, Rob?
You see, the alphabet community, they don't subscribe to patriarchy.
Did you just call them the alphabet community? Is that a thing? Am I laughing for no reason?
It is.
Okay.
It is.
Wow, that sounds very derogatory. It sounds wrong.
I mean,
they're clowning us for talking about shims last week. But
they're constantly taking up alphabet, so we might as well just call them that.
That's funny. That's funny. That's the first time I heard that, but I agree with you. This is kind of ridiculous that they have all these alphabets.
Chappelle actually more than likely coined that term in Sticks and Stones stand up. So
yeah. Oh wow, that's hilarious. The alphabet community. Yeah, it's truth to that. It's truth to that. But yeah, I just based on that's what I'm saying. In 20 years, we talk about a lot of the male dominated industries. You brought up construction, for example.
Okay.
Right now, there's a strong push on 3D platform building construction platforms that require
That
you know
requires a push
no
of a button, right?
exactly.
Okay.
So when that happens, then you'll be able to see more women shift into that industry. You're not going to be able to have this conversation in 20 years.
Now, okay, now that's construction. That's pretty much like
So
changing.
what are
So,
your other male dominated fields that you would think of?
I mean, you could still have mostly male plumbers, electricians.
That's not even the case right now.
I mean, no matter what type of economy it is, I mean, those people are never out of work.
You're absolutely right, but I
So,
would probably say that, and I don't have facts to support this right now, but those fields are trending upwards between males and females.
my thing is, if it get close to 50-50, then talk to me. But if you're gonna say that those numbers are going to jump from 2% to 6%, we it's not a conversation.
But that's what I'm saying. 20 years from now, you're still
Okay.
talking about construction, even though you're talking about electricians and plumbers. It's
Hmm.
still construction. These fields are changing in ways that will allow anybody to perform these types of work. I mean, 20 years ago, plumbing was uh well, actually probably about 40 or 50 years ago, plumbing was aluminum or it was metal based, and now it's all plastic. So there's no weight factor that women can't do. You know what I'm saying? There's
Okay.
no
I'm saying
muscle factor
I'm
that's
saying
separate.
I'm saying even if the work gets easier, still, I mean, women are just not interested in that.
That may or may not be that might be true. Let's say women are interested in that particular field.
Okay.
What other fields are there that would pose this women can't do this type of
I mean,
separation?
women as far as in the construction field, I mean, women could keep doing what they always been doing. Just standing there holding up those signs that say stop or slow. You know, right? You
you
know, right?
where you been, Rod? I swear you tripping, dog. You tripping.
Every construction site, you see a woman holding up the sign, don't you?
Why do you think you see a woman holding up the sign? Do you think they're there because they want to hold up the sign, or do you think they're there because they're trying to get a leg into the industry?
They're there because they want to make a paycheck.
So you don't think any woman that's at a construction site wants to be there other than to make a paycheck?
Hell no.
You just said that.
No. I'm saying like road pavers. I mean, you could be out there in like 20-degree weather, or you could be out there in 120-degree weather. I don't think a woman wants to do the physical labor that the men are doing. I think women are willing to just sit there and hold up signs. I mean, they're getting paid to do that. That's, I mean, I have no issue with that, but I don't think that they're gonna jump into the trenches doing the physical hard labor. I don't think that's going to be like much of a dent as far as 2% of women jumping into it. Jumping up to maybe 8%. I'll give them that, but
Okay, well,
it's,
right
it's not
now
it's
it's
not going
over
to be a
10.
major dent.
Right now it's over 10%. So you can
It's
already
10%.
it's plus 10% of
It
women in
is
construction field. Yeah,
okay.
but
No. Wait. Are they
in
including?
construction.
Are they including the women who holding up the signs? I need those numbers. I need them numbers, man.
Those same women who hold up the signs still sweep the ground too. They still pushing it
It's
when
not
they
hard
done
labor.
holding up. Huh?
It's not hard labor.
Have you ever pushed gravel with a broom for 8 hours? That's
Now,
hard work. That's harder than mixing cement.
pushing gravel and versus sweeping dust is two different things.
So you saying women don't push gravel?
I never seen it.
You ain't never, Rob. You just be saying what you want to see.
Hey, I'm on the 294, literally commuting to work every single day. I drive through construction sites every single day. I have
Mhm.
not seen a woman do the same work as men on a construction site unless
What
she's holding up a sign.
what work? Nah, that's just getting way too specific. I'm,
I'm
I'm
telling you
gonna
what I see.
I'm gonna say this, that women are in construction. Women are behind planning. obviously. A lot of women architects. A lot of women architects. That's a growing field for women.
Hey,
Uh,
actually, hey, speaking of that, that was an all women construction um, company that
mhm.
built this bridge in Florida. I want to say this happened maybe 6 years ago. What happened to that bridge?
I don't know, Rob. Tell us what happened to the
That
bridge.
motherfucking bridge collapsed. As a matter of fact, I will include in the description box that story. And then they go blame the men for it. I'm like, what the fuck, y'all? See, you know what? That's what happens with patriarchies. I mean, the men are responsible for like what they build in a patriarchy. You see, women don't want to take responsibility because I mean, it's just too much for them.
Yeah, I don't think you have enough supporting evidence to say that that's a fact, Rob. You have one incident, probably out of how many other construction sites did this particular group build? You can't just throw them
You
under
know
the
what?
bus.
Hopefully it was just they first and only one. Hopefully. But I will research that and I'll put, include it in the
Yeah,
description
you,
box.
you you do that, man. I think we do need to make. We both have daughters, and we both need to obviously want to build strong backbones into our children. But we do have to start thinking about the world that they're growing up in, because it's not the world that we're in or grew up in. Just like the world now is nothing like when we were kids. The world when they become adults is going to be nothing like the world is now. It's going to change significantly.
Right.
And from a patriarchal standpoint, that's probably not going to change in 20 years. We're not going to have 80% women in politics. That's not going to happen for a very very long time, unless they come up with a way to kill off all men. But as
Mhm.
far as marriage is concerned, and the concept, the understanding of what a family looks like, it's not going to be the same. Even if men run the world, the household is going to look very different 20 years from now. It's going to be a lot of women in women households. It's going to be a lot of men in men house, more men in men households. It may be even more uh, male woman woman or woman male male. I've seen a lot in the last month, probably more than I was subscribed to, of women having multiple men live in their houses or have multiple boyfriends that all get along. Have you been seeing this?
Yeah, I've been saying it. I mean, those are cucks, those are betas, those are simps, those are suckers. I don't subscribe to that.
I don't subscribe to it either. But the realization is 20, 30 years from now, our children may have three or four boyfriends that all work to provide for her. So that's a possibility. And we have to start thinking about, what direction this country is going and this planet is going, and being able to cultivate their minds to be able to navigate the world that we know nothing about. So we can't entrench them with our values only for today, but we do have to, help them get an understanding of what tomorrow might look like. So don't neglect to do that.
Well, that's my number one message, man. I mean, just to kind of conserve the notion of the nuclear family. I mean, hopefully, whenever my daughters are like, marriage age per se. So hopefully, I mean, actually, they're like to be unicorns, and hopefully, men will find that appealing. That they don't subscribe to that far left feminist mindset, and hopefully, they would kind of like like get along with them, better, and they don't got to fight with them, for like a power struggle within a relationship. So I mean, well, that's what I come in at. I mean, I'm going to teach them certain concepts and certain theories, certain mindsets, as far as like, hey, this is how you operate, once you leave the house, this is how you talk to men, this is how men should love you. So that's my number one driving force, as far as the way I try to spew my ideology on this on this podcast. So
That's
but
what's up.
it's one day at a time, man. So I'm not trying to give up on this whole, let's put the matriarchal woman on a pedestal and just let them rule the world. And actually, let me say this real quick. As far as like, it was like some document that was signed by like 1,000 black men talking some, we need to have a woman rule the world because men did it for a long time, and it's time for women to do it now. I mean, it was mostly led by Diddy. I was like Diddy,
What? Diddy?
yeah, Diddy, yeah,
We taking
Diddy,
advice from him?
yeah, Diddy, Charlemagne. I mean, I was like Diddy. He's almost worth $1 billion. I think it's worth like $850 million. And for him to even say that and put that information out there like that, I mean, obviously I guess he's compromised, and he just I guess he don't want the social justice warrior folks to go after him, because I'm sure he got so much skeletons in his closet. But
Yeah.
but the fact for him to even do that and come out with that document, I mean, that's a shame, because you would think like a man of his caliber would like be the ultimate patriarchy, but but he fell victim to it. So
I haven't heard about that, so I got to look into that. But
yeah.
I believe it. It sounds like celebrities have a bad habit of portraying themselves as some type of fighter for whatever cause they have, when
Yeah,
none
virtue
of this shit,
signalers.
none of this shit ever affects them anyway.
All right, right, gotcha.
That's what I don't like about them. You got all these millions of dollars, and you want to play an opinion just because it's gonna make you look good. Why don't you just be quiet and sit down somewhere? Don't nobody want to hear that.
That's
Not from
that.
no.
That's why I tell LeBron to shut up and dribble.
LeBron is a different scenario, man. LeBron stays doing it. He doesn't just come in and peek his head out once in a while and say, "Oh, do this, Black Power." He don't do that, Rob. He's out all of the time doing it. For Diddy to come out and just say, "Oh, every 4 years,"
as long as there's a photo op, LeBron's willing to do it.
and
So
we already had that conversation. Well, how come that's the thing though? Is Diddy any different from a photo op standpoint?
he's probably run the
Gonna,
same.
yeah, but you don't see him out every day politicking for these different types of things that you see LeBron doing. No, you
LeBron.
don't.
I'm saying LeBron. He's an active,
He's
high
an active
elite.
activist.
No, he's an active elite basketball player right now. I mean, Diddy, he hasn't have a hit since what, 2008.
Diddy is Diddy. That celebrity hasn't changed.
I mean,
His
yeah.
celebrity hasn't changed. If Diddy today wanted to call a press conference by any major news channel in America, do you think he wouldn't be able to get that?
No, I'm sure he could.
Then his celebrity hasn't changed.
Yeah.
He could have the same impact on the community as LeBron, but he just hasn't.
Okay.
And regarding, you just feel like bail out LeBron because you're a Michael Jordan fanatic.
Of course.
Let that be clearly stated.
Yeah.
Nah, but that's what's up, man. Good conversation, man. I know you got DraftKings and stuff you need to get taken care of.
Yeah, I got 20 minutes.
How you been doing with that, man?
I mean, overall, I'll be coming out even though. Like 1 week I may win $50. Next week I may win nothing. Basically, I just recycle the money that I made and just like put that into future roster. So, but like overall, throughout the year, I just come out even. It's just something fun to do. So.
Oh, okay. You ain't really making no money off of it.
I mean,
every now and here
it's just fun. It's just fun. So yeah.
All right. Well, I don't follow football, but I might look into it for basketball season.
You know what? One time I won $700 off of $2 roster.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's good. That's real good. Shit.
Yeah. I mean, like these rosters I play is only $3 per roster, and mind you, it's like 600,000 entries.
Yeah.
Going into one room. So in first place will win you $100,000. I mean, you just got to get lucky just to kind of hit that 1 week.
Right.
So, but
I have to check that out, man. I don't really follow football like that, but if they had the same type of landscape for basketball, I think I'll probably do better.
Yeah, basketball's the same way, man. So, because reason why I like football is because I mean it's a week to week basis. You could kind of keep up with injuries and like healthy scratches and stuff like that. But as far as basketball, you got to follow that shit daily, man. And I just don't got that time. So
yeah, highlights, man. That's what our full game highlights.
Well, I don't pay attention to basketball till after the Super Bowl. I mean, I'll watch the Christmas Day games usually, But then after that, I'll be MIA from basketball until after the Super Bowl. Then I'll pay attention to like the All-Star weekend. Then I'll watch those Sunday NBA or ABC type of games. So
yeah, I would probably say I pretty much do the same myself. Not because of football season, just because holidays is busy and all that other kind of shit. I don't really watch too much basketball until after Super Bowl. But yeah, Super Bowl, man. We gotta start thinking about that, man. You know, Corona and Super Bowl parties. What we gonna do? We're gonna have to host a live show.
We might have like a Zoom Super Bowl party, man.
Ain't a bad idea. We gotta think of something, man. We don't have to get everybody screened before we have a party, though. If we get together. Yeah. Same thing for New Year's. We ain't really talked about that either, but I'm gonna let you go, man. I'm tired. I need to lay down. I got stuff to do. I gotta wash. I gotta get grocery shopping and baby up and everything. So
that's all good. All right, man. Well, this is Cornerstone Podcast, episode 24. If you stop by, make sure you like, subscribe, comment, and share the content. And we'll see y'all next week.
All right.
All right. Peace.